Zach, this question's for you. I read in a magazine article that for you, the movie and staying true to Frank's version of the graphic novel was important to you, and you actually did storyboards to format it on camera. Can you kind of talk about that and give us a little bit of what the process was for that?
Sure. I think if you take a look at there's a making up book that Dark Horse just published that it's pretty cool. I think it helps to really understand kind of the way I put it together in my head anyway. And the way it works is, you know, like you have the script and then you have the graphic novel, and then you kind of have to squish them together because, you know, you actually have to take, because if you look at Frank's panels, they tend to be these kind of tableaus, you know, he's not that concerned with this linear progression of time that you experience when you see a movie. You know, there's, from moment to moment, you have to kind of fill it in, you can't just jump time. I mean, you can, that's also cool, but in the case of this, you know, we wanted this sort of linear experience. And so the trick for me was to try and get the moments that kind of fed into the Frank frames or the Frank moments. So for instance, when you look at that clip, you know, there's a sequence where at the very end they push the Persians over the cliff, you know, which is a frame just straight out of the book. And it was, for me anyway, if you can look at the story, like you have the frame here, and you have sort of the linear part of the story, and then you have to try and figure out how you're going to just dive through the frame, and then come back out, and then find the next one. And it was an interesting process for me, just because it's not normally how you do it. You know, you're basically sort of weaving your story, and you're trying to read it and attach it to the graphic novel so that they become sort of one thing. So that, I don't know, I didn't really answer the question maybe, but I can only just rant until I stop. And I learned that from Jerry.
Hi, I'm really thrilled to be here today and to see all of you on stage. I'm part of GBNet, cannot let that go by, and there are quite a few of us here. So I just wanted to let you know.
How many? How did you all get in the front row? Something dodgy going in here. Wow. I think there's a bit of cheating going on in here. Anyway, sorry, you had a question?
Jerry, did you stay in character off the set? Leonidas is a very huge epic hero. And I wondered if you stayed in character off the set, were you able to relax with the guys and girls? And
I would say I stayed in character if he had many wives. Sorry, Lena, I never told you about that. I think that I definitely stayed in character on set. I thought I was surprised when I saw a lot of the video journals when I was watching them. I was kind of like, wow! I felt that I really kind of kept a lot of that energy and that power and that focus, just the way I held myself, and always feeling, you know, trying to feel that strength. So whenever I've seen stuff from then, I can see that I really was doing that, and I think that you can't help but stay like that at night. I mean, I know for the first few weeks when I got to Montreal, I was literally practicing walking around the streets without looking like a freak. Holding myself up, you know, just moving slower, just a whole different way of being. And you start to keep that up. I mean, I think even today there's parts of Leonidas that stay in you. It happens, you know, especially when you're a really weak person like I am. I take on a lot of the attributes of the characters that I play, especially the bad parts, good parts of me. So yeah, I think that I both subconsciously and consciously, to an extent, kept up the lead.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I have a legacy question. My name is Christine London and I write romance novels. And I know when I'm writing my story and characters, I get really excited and caught up in this vortex of excitement, just like you're in the middle of right now. But what do you hope to achieve legacy legacy-wise? What do you think the legacy of this film will be when all the hoopla calms down at the end of the day?
Well, look, I think I'm sure you feel the same way, but I made the movie basically for people probably in this room and for myself, and so I wanted to make a movie that I'd want to see, and I think that it's hard for me to have perspective on that experience other than that there's, when I see the movie, I go, okay, that's cool. I like that part, So I think in that way it satisfies, the creative part of the process, like where you try for something and you decide whether or not that worked. I think that the movie itself, it's weird because, I made a little movie before this called Dawn of the Dead. It was a movie that I made. The studio wanted a certain kind of movie, and I made another movie than I think they wanted from me necessarily. And that experience that movie I think has, I don't know, I'm proud of it, and it's kind of, I feel like over time it's become the movie that I thought it would be. Like I think that it's perceived by people. Anyway, fans of the movie, there's some people who don't like it, but that's fine. But at least they get what I was trying to do. And I think the same thing I hope for 300 is that whatever, as it just goes out into the universe, that at least people enjoy it, and then I don't know where it takes its place among movies or graphic novels or graphic novel movies or action, wherever it ends up, it's like having a kid, same as writing a book. You have your child, and then people say, that's an ugly kid. Or they say, God, that kid's handsome.
How about you, Jerry? Legacy.
Or they say, oh, you just had a book. That's disgusting.
The legacy man.
I don't know, when this film comes out, I'll probably find out if Jerry Butler has a legacy or not, People will be popping up from all over.
You do already, my dear.
I was meaning something else, but it doesn't matter. I actually strongly believe that there's you say when all the hoopla comes down, there's a reason for the hoopla, and that is that it's an extraordinary film. And I think that it's one that will stand the test of time because it works for so many reasons. The big surprise is how much women love this film, you wouldn't expect, because it manages to be exceptionally brutal, but really beautiful and strangely romantic and passionate at the same time. And it's so incredibly artistic, like even if you look back to Star Wars or something like that, which kind of defined a genre and a period, that wasn't artistic, it was cool, but it wasn't artistic, not like this. And I think that anything that is artistic and so brave like this has got to stay for a long time. And again, going back to the simplicity of the characters and the motivations, I mean, not everybody will get the film, but for a lot of people, to me, it's like the new male archetype for this. Strong, simple, define whatever you want, just whatever it is that you believe in, but just that purpose, following your purpose. Follow your purpose, everybody. Follow your purpose. I believe and hope that it's going to last for a long time,
From your lips to God's ears.
Yes.
Thank you, that's well said. And
This is not Star Wars.